are listening to the most comprehensive paranormal archive on the internet.
Welcome to Salsido Paranormal. I'm your host, James Salsido, and tonight I am sharing experiences, true paranormal stories from the web. As always, you can find all episodes of the show along with links to social media, ways to listen, and ways to support the show at the website, and that is salsidoparanormal.com. That's SALSIDO paranormal.com. Support is never expected but always appreciated, as there are expenses in making these shows. There are many ways to support the show. You can share the show with others and rate and review it on your favorite podcast platform. You can sign up for the Patreon feed and get all the extra content there for as little as $1 a month. You can also check out the merchandise store and get shirts and other items with designs made by friends of the show. And of course, you can always make donations through PayPal. And please support friends of the show as well. That'd be Jen, the Arcane Observer, who has her own channel and is the co-host of the show on Saturdays, whenever she's able to make it. Also, Ricky of the Anything Is Possible podcast, who does a paranormal-themed show on Sundays that I usually co-host. And also Michael Strange, host of Trouble Minds Radio, which I also frequently co-host, and the Trouble Minds Radio Network, KUAP Digital Broadcasting, where you can hear all kinds of amazing shows, as well as my own, online 24/7 for free. So, I think that takes care of everything there, and let me get to the document here. Thank you all for listening, however, whenever you are doing so. Yeah, let me get to the document here, and we'll see what we can get to. So, this one says, just to preface, I have had real paranormal experiences, but this one was somewhat funny. In the middle of the night, I woke up to talking or screaming on the TV. My teen had fallen asleep with the TV on. Annoyed, I grabbed my phone and switched the TV off. Half awake, I decided to check on the cranky teenager, make sure he had a blanket, hadn't fallen asleep with a glass of soda in a precarious place, and do the thing where I lovingly look at the stinking mass of human who woke up one day suddenly having all of life's answers. As I was walking down the hall, I heard a male voice say, "Boo," like the traditional cartoon ghost sound. Not a whoosh, but an actual male voice. I muttered out loud, "Oh heck no," and said a quick prayer of protection. I then turned on the hall light, and I turned to check on the other teen, who was asleep with my dog. I called the dog, and he hopped out of bed, ears back, tail between his legs. But he nuzzled me. I went to the living room, checked on the other kiddo. I left the hall light on and got back into bed. I've never had any activity in this house, so I'm super annoyed. And that's where that one ends. I do love the way they wrote that. That is fascinating. I believe this is not the first time I've come across this kind of again, like they mentioned there, a sort of stereotypical voice saying "boo." I believe I've come across that at least once before in the process of doing this show. I don't remember now any of the details. I just feel like I've come across that before, and that's fascinating because to me that shows someone is aware of what they're doing, and aware of sort of the irony of it, possibly, and making that noise and that sound. So it's really amazing. I wonder. I mean, it's impossible to know the intention of whoever that was or why they did that. And I mean, if there was no activity before or after, then could have just been someone passing through. Um, so hopefully that's all it was. But yeah, they say like the traditional cartoon ghost sound. Uh, that's a perfect way to describe that. Of course, I didn't say it that way when I read it, but just think of how you've heard any cartoon character say "boo" in a TV show or cartoon, and I imagine that if anyone is aware that they are sort of not in a physical form anywhere, and they're just passing through or whatever, or just I don't know, they just happen to say that once in a while to people that maybe they didn't expect to come across, or whatever the situation is. But yeah, that's a fascinating one. I do like this writer's attitude about the whole situation, though. Um, so yeah, I thought that was a neat one. Even if it was just because of the writing, the way they wrote that one was very good. So moving on to the next one here. This one says, I was visiting Chicago for vacation. One day I decided to take the train to Michigan City. This was during the late winter or early spring. The mall was dead because of that. I went to use the restroom at the mall. While I was using the restroom, I got the sudden feeling that I was being watched. I looked around, and didn't see anyone. I suddenly heard a loud bang in the bathroom. It sounded like the sound of someone banging a laptop against a hard wall. All of a sudden, my phone started acting up and glitching. The home button would not work, and my phone screen kept flickering. I was in the restroom by myself, but I heard the stall door open, but I turned around and didn't see it moving while hearing the sounds. I ran away from that part of the mall, and my phone returned to normal. I asked a driver later on about this experience and was told Michigan City has some scary energy, and the city is filled with paranormal activity. This is the first city where I have experienced such activity since Yuba City in California. Other people I have known who have been to Michigan City have experienced poltergeists where they were staying and have had their phone glitch up in certain corners. And that's where that one ends, and that's fascinating. Because not only do you have sort of traditional paranormal activity reported by apparently many people, sounds like an area I may have to look into at some point, but you have the sort of more modern occurrence of people's devices acting up in those areas as well. And I wonder, whenever that happens, when it's not just a simple sort of powering down of a device, when it's more a case of the device is not working right, can there be sort of if a being, a consciousness that is just in or part of energy, when they take energy from devices, uh, can that cause multiple things to happen? In other words, can it cause some devices to just power down, but other devices, it can just cause them to malfunction? Is it the amount of energy being taken that causes that, or the speed of the energy drain that causes glitching, errors on the device instead of just a complete powering down? I don't know the answers to those questions. I'm just curious because, again, that's fascinating. Or is that sort of a side effect, that particular thing, that glitching of devices? Is that a side effect? Or is that intentional as a sign of someone trying to get the attention or trying to get someone to leave, as happened in this experience here? All kinds of, I think, possible outcomes and possible causes. I mean, it's still all sort of could be paranormal. Seems to be that way. I also wonder if it's just if residual energy can also cause that, or just not necessarily consciousness, but just weird, intense energy fields caused by intense emotions for whatever reasons can cause these things. Especially if it's happening to multiple people in the same region in certain parts of it. I don't know. It just a lot of questions there as usual, but that's fascinating. And I don't blame the person there for getting out of there. Whatever the intent was, it's still a lot to process. Moving on to the next one here. Let's see. This one says, I just wanted to share my experience because pretty much everyone in my life doesn't believe in the paranormal, and I just need some support or advice. So to start the story of my experience off, this happened in late May of 2023 when I was 16 years old. All I remember is waking up around 2:30 a.m. and looking into my hallway from my room. Yes, I slept with the door open. First mistake. Anyway, I remember looking down the hallway from my bed and seeing a man who resembled my father. Excuse me. I wasn't freaked out by it at all because my dad normally is up and about throughout the night. But I decided to say hello to the figure. The moment I said hello, the figure faded away. I didn't really think that much of it because I didn't care and wanted to go back to sleep. But I know for a fact before I went to sleep, I put Vaseline on my lips and then lay back down. Fast forward 5 hours, I woke up to my mom on the phone in the living room and then running to the bedroom. I got up and followed her in because who calls us early? My mom handed the phone over to my dad, and we were told that my grandpa, my dad's dad, was dead. Obviously, I was heartbroken and stressed because he died in my home state, and I live over 32 hours away. So we ended up driving there, and there I found out what happened to him. From the coroner's point of view, he got up in the middle of the night, around 4:30, and went to the downstairs bathroom, stood up, and had a massive Widowmaker heart attack. I live in Mountain Time, and he lived in Eastern Time. So the times matched up on when I woke up and when he died. While I was in, I guess you can say it, Ohio, I found a picture album of him and my grandma, and I came to the realization that the guy who was in the hallway was most definitely my grandpa, but younger. I don't know if I'm crazy or if this is a common phenomenon. Please help me figure this out. And I will say, I have heard of accounts like that, whether it's visitations while people are asleep or actual apparitions um, while they're awake, or in this case, they woke up and then saw the apparition. But I have heard of accounts where after the person passes away, the person that came to visit their relative, they appear as a younger version of themselves. And it's fascinating because is that how they think of themselves? Is that why they appear that way? Is that why only some appear that way? Others appear as they did when they passed? Is it a case of sort of, I've heard the idea that people project their preferred image or best image in their mind of themselves, and so everyone is different. So some people appear as they are, but others appear as they were years earlier. Um, so yeah, that's not uncommon overall. I've heard of accounts of that before, and read accounts. I probably shared accounts like that before on the show as well. So, so yeah, that's. I haven't experienced that directly. Everyone that I've seen from visitations, to the best of my memory now, it's been a little while, has looked the same as they did when they passed. And I wonder sometimes too with that, um, is it the case sometimes where when people come back and visit their loved ones, they want to make sure that the loved one knows it's them, so they appear as they were, as the person would have known them. And I mean, everyone is different, so maybe some people wouldn't think of that when they come back to visit their loved ones, and would appear as they want to in their mind. So, uh, again, like I said, everyone is different in how they think and what they think, and so I think that's probably part of why there is no universal sort of situation or scenario in how visitations happen. But anyway, going forward here, let's see. Oops. Okay. This one says, I don't want to say I have a true sixth sense, but I've always felt like I had a touch of it. I've seen a few things in my life and had some scary encounters at night before. A common thing I experienced was hearing someone clearly and loudly say my name just before I woke up. It would sound like my mom, but it wasn't her. She lives out of state and is still alive. So I always figured it was my maternal grandmother, who I am named after. It has died down a lot over the last few years, though. However, last night I was trying to fall asleep, was almost there in fact, when I clearly heard a woman's voice say, "Speak to the dead." It sounded like she was mid-sentence, hence the fragment of speech. It was definitely not the voice similar to my mom's I've heard for years. It was softer, too, not a command to wake. Of course, being a scaredy cat, I froze for like 20 minutes, pondering what the heck that could mean or be. I finally got brave enough to move, look around my room. I always sleep with a nightlight. The shadowy corners, just in case. Then finally passed out. Thinking more on it this morning, I wonder. I have a window over my bed, and it was slightly open. It looked out to our backyard, so it wasn't street sounds. And it was almost 3 a.m. I also have a tiny dream catcher over said window. I'm just thinking and hoping something was just passing by. Also, comforting myself, thinking the dream catcher kept them out. But since the window was open, I could hear, in quotation marks, them. I'm not looking for answers, just wanted to share and get this out of my heart, or my head, sorry. I've been dwelling on it all morning, and that's where that one ends. That's fascinating. I do, and again, I think in a lot of cases, whatever ghosts or souls or spirits are, there, yes, there's some cases where they stay in one spot, but it does seem like in so many cases, um, there are these consciousnesses that travel, that move, and I think that might be one possible explanation for these sort of one-off accounts like this, where this person had this one experience like that, at least of that type, and that was it. Um, Again, as I always say, when just thinking of passing through, I literally had an experience like that here in my apartment not long after I moved in, where this one evening, it wasn't even really dark out yet, I started hearing voices coming from the front of the apartment, and it sounded like an older man and an older woman. Just having a pleasant conversation. I don't remember now what they said, but it wasn't anything that really stuck, whatever it was. But it was as though they were just walking through the area, but I didn't hear any footsteps and I didn't see anyone. But I was able to, with my ears, track the sound of this couple, this older couple, having a conversation as they walked through my apartment, and they were heading toward a nearby nursing home. And I just wondered, was there some weird overlap between, I don't know, dimensions or whatever you want to call them, realms, the other side, whatever, where they didn't even know or didn't even realize they were walking through someone's apartment? Or did they not see the apartment? Or did it look empty to them? I don't know, because I didn't see anything, just heard them. And that never happened again. I never heard those voices here again in almost 20 years now since that happened. So I do think that passing by is totally a thing that happens and that can happen. And I think that can maybe possibly explain some of these one-off experiences, or experiences where it's sort of, as they said there in that post, a sentence fragment. It wasn't a whole statement as far as they could tell. So yeah, that's really my thoughts on that. Please be sure to check out all the links in every episode description for friends of the show, and for supporting the show if you are able and would like to do so. That's always appreciated. And follow the friends of the show. And again, check out those other shows where you can hear me as well if you would like to hear more of me than you already do through the podcast. It's a lot of fun to be on other shows when I can be, because I get to comment on all the things that other people are talking about, and have some amazing conversations. And so yeah, I think that's going to do it. And thank you all for listening, and I will talk to you all next time on Salsido Paranormal. Take care.